My name is Johnny Marriott. In this episode, we're exposing you to the cruel and often horrific practice of killing wolves using neck snares. I'm not going to lie, this video is going to be really hard to watch, but I think it's important for you to view the suffering that these animals endure so you can truly understand what happens when wild animals are caught in snares. We sincerely hope that this episode spurs you to demand change. Have you ever come across something so unexpected that it shook you to your very core? The people I'm about to introduce you to have. In early January 2019, Craig and Tara unexpectedly discovered an active wolf trapline while hiking along a trail in Kananaskis country, and what they found shocked them.
I've been coming out here for 30 years to hike the valley, look for animals, take pictures. It's serene, it's beautiful, it's not that busy. So we brought the dogs and came for a walk.
Ideally, the plan was to come here early and see if we couldn't spot a pack of wolves. We did end up hearing them. It was beautiful. I actually dropped to my knees. That was a first for me. It wasn't too far into the trail. The dogs went for a piece of meat, something.
We were a couple kilometers up the path when we came across a dead body, a carcass. It was skinned out, the head was cut off, the feet were cut off. We weren't quite sure what it was. As we walked back towards the main path, we came across two more animals. They had been skinned. One of them still has his head on, so it was clear that they were wolves.
And shortly after that, while we were investigating and started taking pictures, because it's like, something's not right here. This doesn't feel right. It might be legal, but it's certainly not ethical.
That's when we started paying attention and realized we were probably on an active trapline.
What Craig encountered was one of the most common types of traplines. A trapline using neck snares to kill wolves and other canids like coyotes and foxes for their fur. Trappers lay out big piles of meat in an enclosed forested area to attract predators, then saturate the area with wire snares. Predators come through the trees to get at the meat, and if the trapper is chosen wisely, a wolf, coyote, bobcat, even a cougar walks through the snare and the wire loop tightens around its neck or body. In most cases, the animal eventually chokes to death, but not always. The trapper returns to the snare, kills the animal if necessary, skins it, and sells its fur for fashion-related clothing.
As we got a few kilometers back down the path, we came across 30 or 40 snares and 3 more wolves with their heads cut off, their feet cut off, and their skin ripped from their bodies. Turned the hike from let's go look for wildlife and take pictures of the mountains into what the hell are we seeing here? What are we a part of, and how far in does this go?
As well as all of the dead carcasses, there was bait, there was ribs and muscle and meat thrown about. It really was just a scene of carnage.
We noticed a whole bunch of crows a little ways down the other way to the south, so we decided to follow, see what else we were going to witness. We saw a bunch more snares in the bushes, so I went in to have a peek, and that's when we encountered the live wolf.
Then came the yells and the swearing and the get out of here, and I didn't really know what was going on, so I got us out, and it wasn't until he came out and it was pretty apparent that whatever was going on was bad.
His back paw was caught in a snare. The flesh was peeled back and ripped off his foot, and he was struggling like crazy to get out of this trap. He wasn't making any noise, but when he popped up, he was 15 feet away from me. He was right there. I could smell him. There's nothing I could do. You can't go cut him free. It's an apex predator that's scared and hurt. I had to leave him in the woods for someone to come back and kill him and turn him into a jacket.
When I found out that there was a live wolf and we needed to leave the site, I wasn't okay with it then, and I'm not okay with it now. It was really hard to walk away. Like, you're completely helpless and sick, like just sick to my very core. I come out here to enjoy nature and enjoy wildlife and enjoy the precious resources that we all get to share. One doesn't have more right than the other, I don't feel. And if there is more right, then there should also be more responsibility.
I've hiked this area hundreds of times. That time was different, you know, after encountering the live wolf, literally on his deathbed, waiting to be killed for someone to look cool in a coat. It wasn't a hike, it wasn't fun anymore, and I just wanted to go home. It's something that gets tough. You close your eyes and you can see it. I could see the look in his eyes. I could smell him. That didn't go away for days.
We had an entirely different episode planned to kick off our 2019 season, but when Craig and Tara's story came across our radar, we knew we had to act quickly and change our schedule. I visited the trapline on my own just days after first hearing from Craig. The live wolf was gone, red blood splatter in its place where the trapper likely shot it, but I did find 3 dead wolves, 9 coyote carcasses, and 4 red foxes, all skinned and left behind to rot. Perhaps surprisingly, what this trapper is doing on his trapline is totally legal and happens all across Canada, much more than you might think. In Alberta, a $40 trapping license allows trappers to kill as many wolves as they can from October to March. There are no limits. Let me repeat that. For $40, trappers can kill as many wolves, coyotes, and foxes as they can snare. So why snares? Because they're cheap, they're lightweight, they're easy to use, and they can catch a wide variety of fur-bearing animals. The problem is, the science shows that neck snares are incredibly inhumane and rarely kill quickly. Neck snares have never been scientifically proven to kill animals humanely in less than 5 minutes, which is the standard outlined under the Agreement on International Humane Trapping Standards that Canada signed in 1997. But neck snares actually aren't even part of that agreement, because all relevant Canadian agencies decided that snares were not commercial killing devices, in part because they can also be made at home. This excluded them from the agreement, despite the fact that neck snares can be purchased commercially from many outdoor retailers, and almost all trappers sell their fur commercially. So how can neck snares not be considered commercial killing devices? Snares work on the premise that the wire tightens around the wolf's neck as it struggles, compressing the carotid arteries and reducing blood flow to the brain. However, it's extremely difficult to choke a wolf to death because of their incredibly strong neck muscles, regardless of whether a manual killing snare or a power killing snare is used. The science actually shows that snares aren't even time effective in killing the much smaller red fox, let alone wolves or coyotes. Plus, many wolves get caught by the leg or foot and have to wait days or even weeks in agony with a wire embedded in their flesh before the trapper finally returns to kill them, just as Craig's wolf had to. How many wolves are killed in snares across the country each year? thousands. In Alberta alone, just last year, trappers reported killing almost 700 wolves and a staggering 46,120 coyotes. Many of these coyotes are what line the hoods of Canada Goose jackets.
The culprit here is not the trapper. It's the consumer that drives the demand for this product. If the consumer doesn't want fur, the trappers don't have the need to take fur. That fancy $800 coat that you're wearing, that's real animal around the hood that was trapped, held, killed, beheaded, its feet were cut off and the skin ripped from its body, just so you can have a fur-lined hood on your fancy winter coat. None of it has a purpose in 2019. None of it has a way of life aspect to how we do things. It's purely fashion and it's purely ego. And thousands of animals are killed cruelly each year in the name of fashion. It's rough to know that, having looked a wolf in the eye and knew that he was going to be a coat. It's rough to have experienced that.
The content of this episode has been really difficult for us to share with you here on Exposed, but we sincerely hope that learning about the cruel reality of how killing neck snares are used on our wolves and our coyotes educates you and spurs you into action to demand change. We need our trapping regulations updated to ban killing neck snares. Please join us in this fight to help give our wildlife a voice. Take action by clicking on the link in the description. Please educate your friends and family who might be considering buying a fur trim coat or any other fur product. The only way to stop this is by reducing the demand for fur. It's up to all of us. Stay tuned for more episodes tackling this very controversial subject in the coming year. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay informed by subscribing to our Exposed channel.